Today is Salvador Dali's birthday. Salvador Dali is a surrealist artist, and what that means is that he created artwork that looked realistic but was a little bit different or unusual, kind of like this portrait that we are going to create today. He had a great sense of humor, and oftentimes his artwork showed that. In fact, he's pretty well known for that mustache of his, as well as a painting of clocks that appear to be melting. Sound familiar? You thought I said serial artist, didn't you? Surrealism means that it looks so real, but that it couldn't possibly be real. All right, so let's work on our surrealistic portrait of Salvador Dali. Begin with a piece of paper, laying it down horizontally, fold your piece of paper in half, like so, unfold, and then cut along that crease, cutting your paper in half. Set aside one paper and then fold the other one in half, bringing the left over to the right. Unfold, and then beginning in the middle of the paper, go ahead and draw next to your finger a nice big arch like a rainbow for an eye. Make sure the eye is a lot bigger than you would normally make it. Fold the paper closed and trace over your pencil lines again, so that way you have a perfectly symmetrical eye on the other side. Using a pencil, let's use a diagonal line to create the nose for Salvador Dali. And let's begin also now with the mouth, drawing it a little bit below where you actually think the mouth will be. That will give us enough room to add our mustache. Now I'm beginning next to the eye. I'm drawing a 3/4 view, meaning Salvador is not facing us. It's not quite his profile. It's in between. Draw a diagonal line for neck, a vertical line for the forehead. He's got these really fascinating eyebrows that you'll want to make sure to include, as well as the hairline. I don't know why I got all country on there, but I did. Next up, add a little bit of the ear. I don't have room, so some of it got cropped, and that's okay. Once you're happy with your drawing, go ahead, grab a marker, and outline your work. Once you've finished outlining all of your lines, if you have any pencil lines that are peeking out underneath, you might want to take a moment to erase. Next up, we need to cut out the eyes. This can be a little tricky, so fold the paper in half just at the eye, cutting 2 small snips to create an opening for your scissors. You'll want to go slowly and carefully, and it also helps if you made those eyes nice and wide. It's a lot easier to cut. You'll do this to one eye and then repeat the same process for the other one by folding the paper, pinching the eye. Oh, goodness, still painful. Make a couple of diagonal cuts and cut the other eye out. Now we need to find something round, something that's big enough for both of the eyes. I found a dish that was big enough that it covered both of the eyes, and I'm tracing and going to cut it out. I get to draw a series of 4 different eyes, but it's important that the circle be wider than those 2 eyes on my paper. To find the center of your circle, fold it in half vertically and horizontally. Use a push pin to poke right through the center. Then find the middle of the eyes and poke with your push pin also. Now you're going to need something called a brad. It looks almost like a push pin, but it has 2 little legs that spread out. Put it through the front of your drawing and then also through your circle. Fold down, but you also might want to make sure that it's folded vertically. All right, now you have a spinning circle that is behind the eyes. Here comes the fun part. Grab a marker, a pencil, or whatever, and draw a series of eyes for Salvador Dali. They could be looking in all sorts of different directions. Make sure you check out some portraits of him online. He's quite a fascinating character. Besides just making these interesting faces and having a really cool mustache, he's an amazing artist, kind of like you. When you're finished with one set of eyes, rotate your paper, and then draw another set. You'll want to just rotate it just enough so that you no longer see the other eye. Don't spin it a whole lot. Just rotate it enough so that the other eyes disappear. This will give you just enough room to create a series of 4 different eyes. When you're finished, rotate and draw a couple more. Continue this until you no longer have room. For me, that meant I was able to draw 4 different kinds of eyes for Salvador. Once you have your 4 sets of eyes, get a tiny little piece of cardboard. It's important that you make sure to glue this so that little opening that you see right there is positioned on the left and right side, because that's where you're going to be feeding your pipe cleaner through. So make sure that the little opening is right there. There you go. Now, I didn't have a black pipe cleaner, which that's actually the color of Salvador's mustache, but you know what? We're artists. We use what we've got. You could also have fun just kind of playing with it, experimenting with the different eyes, changing the shape of the mustache, and coloring if you want to. I don't know what you're going to make, but I'm sure it will be completely surreal, meaning it looks real, but it couldn't possibly be real, just like the artwork of Salvador Dali. Most of all, have fun.